They are among the oldest mountains on the continent, born before the age of the dinosaurs. Their geologic and climatic destiny unfolding over millions of years, producing a diversity of species unequaled in the temperate regions of the world. In these mountains are more varieties of trees than are found on the entire continent of Europe, some the largest and oldest of their species. There are plants and animals here that are found no place else on Earth. This is the front porch of southern Appalachian mountain history, where remnants of a culture remain bound to the land and alive in the imagination. This is Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Perhaps 1,000 years ago, when the Cherokee people arrived, they looked into the mists and wondered about these mountains, imagining the story of their creation.
The great buzzard flew all over the earth. When he reached the Cherokee country, he was very tired, and his wings began to flap and strike the ground. And wherever they struck the earth, there was a valley, and where they turned up again, there was a mountain.
The rocks in these mountains reveal their own story. One that began 200 to 300 million years ago with a massive collision of continents, now Africa and North America. Over millions of years, the earth buckled and reached skyward. From Quebec to Alabama, the land gave way, leaving behind the Appalachian chain that includes the Great Smoky Mountains. But no sooner were they born than they began to wear away. Sculpted over millions of years by the forces of nature, wind, water, fracturing and settling, creating soft, gentle curves that speak the passage of time. Life took hold early in the Smokies, first thriving in the warm, moist lower elevations. But it would take another cataclysmic event to create the tremendous diversity of species that have made this an environment unlike any in the world. The last ice age. More than 10,000 years ago, an immense sheet of ice pushed down from the north, stopping short of the Smokies. Over several thousand years, plants and animals migrated south to escape freezing temperatures. In the highest elevations of the Smokies, they flourished within a perfect climate, with temperatures comparable to Canada's Nova Scotia today. It meant that northern species like the eastern hemlock inhabited the park's middle and upper elevations, while species like the flowering dogwood populated the valleys below. A remarkable convergence of species in one small geographic space. The Smokies have the most complex topography in the southern Appalachians. Character. Quirks in the landscape. The elevation ranges from 840 feet to more than 6,600 feet at Clingman's Dome. Going from mountain base to mountaintop is like traveling from Tennessee to Canada. Temperatures can vary by 20 degrees, and the highest elevations get as much as 80 inches of precipitation each year, 30 inches more than the lower valleys. Variations of climate and topography create many different environments within the landscape. From wetlands to grassy balls, streams, meadows, cove hardwood, and spruce fir forests, each with its own unique plant and animal communities. There are more than 1,500 different flowering plants bursting with color each spring and summer. An enormous variety of amphibians flourish in these mountains. So many different kinds of salamanders live here that it's the greatest depth of diversity for these species known in the world. Species like Jordan's red-cheeked salamander, which is found only in the Smokies, and the mighty hellbender that grows 2 feet long. Salamanders are the most prolific predators in the park, outnumbering and outweighing all the black bears, though it's no contest one-on-one. 130 different species of trees create the lush mosaic of the forest, each expressing unique patterns and shapes, sheltering, blanketing the landscape of the Smokies. About 25% of the park is undisturbed old-growth forest, with trees at least 150 years old and some more than 400 years old. This is the largest area of old growth left east of the Mississippi River. Over time, this environment supported humans as well. Little is known about the first people to live in these mountains, but around 1,000 years ago, the Cherokee people began weaving their culture into the land. Nature sustained their bodies and inspired their souls. They were part of all that surrounded them. Then, in 1838, that connection was tragically broken. The U.S. government marched most of the Cherokees west to what later became Oklahoma. Thousands died on the journey known as the Trail of Tears. Today, their presence remains in park names like Cataloochee and Aconalufty. Their culture lives on in descendants of those who escaped the Trail of Tears and reclaimed some of their old homeland. By the early 1800s, the Smokies became a destination for new Americans who established farms and homes. Their lives and culture were shaped by the bounty of the land. Vibrant communities grew. A school at Little Greenbrier, the primitive Baptist church in Cades Cove, the Mingus Mill, orchards in Cataloochee, and homes like this where Lucinda Ogle was raised.
We didn't know any other life. We was the happiest people on earth. And I didn't know have all the troubles and the worries and the what you call it I have nowadays.
But that happiness didn't last. In the early 1900s, a growing nation hungered for the pristine forests of the Smokies. Trees that stood for centuries were destroyed in minutes. The rich topsoil in place for eons cascaded off hillsides, robbing the forest of the very building blocks of life. Writer Horace Kephart loved these mountains and defended them passionately.
When I first came to the Smokies, the whole region was one of superb forest primeval. I lived for several years in the heart of it. Not long ago, I went to that same place again. It was wrecked, ruined, desecrated, turned into 1,000 rubbish heaps, utterly vile and mean.
The devastation alarmed a group of citizens who proposed a national park to save the forest. It took decades to win popular support and purchase the land. Money was raised from the states of Tennessee and North Carolina, the federal government, citizens, even local school children. A $5 million gift came from the Rockefeller family. Timber companies and local citizens sold their lands, sometimes grudgingly, to allow creation of the park. It was difficult for the families to leave.
That was terrible, just like death hit the whole country up into here. Now, we thank God every day, I do. Thank you, God, for bringing the park so we could have it protected till I can hear that sound again, that sweet, soft singing of the birds.
The park is the keeper of stories, of a pioneering spirit, of children taken too young, of war, of family, of harsh winters and spring floods, of community, of faith and love. Homecomings each summer keep these stories alive. The mountain culture lives in songs and faces. Old stories are passed down to a new generation. Partly because of family sacrifice, more than 500,000 acres were preserved as Great Smoky Mountains National Park, dedicated in 1940 by President Franklin D. Roosevelt.
Next stop for the executive party is Great Smoky National Park.
Those who fought for the creation of the park have handed down a never-ending legacy of caring for this land. It's a responsibility now in the hands of all who are touched by its gifts of peace, beauty, and recreation. The park is the largest federally protected mountain ecosystem left in the eastern United States. A fragile environment in need of care and constant protection. The park may be a sanctuary, but it isn't an island. Its natural treasures are threatened by sprawling human development and non-native pests and diseases. Black bears have lost 80% of their historic range in the southeastern United States. The park offers them sanctuary with the large territories they require. Bears need their space. If they become habituated to people and their food, they have to be removed or killed. Keeping a safe distance and keeping